Good day, everyone. This presentation is for Information Systems 805, Special Topics and Computer Information Systems. Today's discussion will be on lean management. I would like to start out with reviewing some definition terms for lean management. I'll talk a little bit about the history of the lean management, and then go into a case study of where lean management and its principles were applied and successfully. So let's begin today with what is lean management. It is the reducing of waste in a methodological manner to optimize processes is the textbook definition. Another term you may use is cutting the fat. Simply put, lean means creating more value for customers with fewer resources. A few other definitions that you should know is a Kaizen means continual improvement. The pull production, which is the process of not releasing materials until the next stage in production or consumption is ready. An example of this would be the just-in-time approach for inventory systems. The pull production is used in the case study that will be presented to you today. A Kanban is a cart system for controlling the flow of materials through a process, which is a good tracking system so you know what is in the process, what is work in progress, what is in inventory, what raw materials you have, so you know where everything is in the process. The horizontal deployment is the extent that all departments are involved in the improvement, and the vertical deployment is the extent that all levels of management or workers are actively involved in achieving the lean practices. This is very important for lean management to be successful for your company. All people in the organization, from top management to the worker on the shop floor, must be involved for this to be successful. Discuss the history of the lean principles. They have gone back for many centuries, but I would like to bring up Henry Ford. He was an industrialist and also the founder of the Ford Motor Company. He did not design the assembly line, but he did redesign the assembly line to be able to have mass production. In doing that, he was able to create an automobile that everyone in America could afford. The actual person that created lean management and the principles is Shinko Shinki. And he is actually named the creator, and he was an industrial engineer from Toyota. He believed in the 7 waste, the waste of overproduction, waste of waiting, waste of transportation, waste of processing itself, waste of inventories, waste of motion, and waste of making defective products. I'd like to discuss with you is from the Lean Enterprise Institute website. The name of the case study is Toyota Partners with Nonprofit to Rebuild Homes and Lives. Some key points that you should be aware of is that the nonprofit St. Bernard Project, which I will refer to as the SBP throughout the case, was rebuilding homes damaged by Hurricane Katrina. Yes, Hurricane Katrina happened over 10 years ago. It was August 29th, 2005, but there are still hundreds to thousands of people that are not in their homes. They still need to be rebuilt. So this organization was formed by a Liz McCartney and a Zach Rosenberg in March of 2006. They came down to New Orleans shortly after Hurricane Katrina hit in that 2005. They stayed for a few weeks, and then they had to go back home. They then commuted back and forth between Washington, D.C. and New Orleans before finally deciding to just go ahead and leave their positions and move to New Orleans and start the SBP permanently full-time. McCartney was a teacher and Rosenberg was a lawyer. So what is the St. Bernard Project, the SBP? SBP. It took the organizations of all the different functions and combined them into one. Up until then, there were different functions and different businesses that were handling fundraising, case management, the construction projects, coordinating volunteers. They were all held at different levels at different locations, and they brought it all together to make it into one place with themselves. And then they enlisted the AmeriCorps members, approximately 140. They work in 10-month overlapping shifts, and the AmeriCorps members become from all walks of life. Some are skilled labor, some are retired, some have college, some with no college. They're just all walks of life, but they're all there to help get the job done. They also have volunteer workers at different times of the years, and they have in-house skilled trade workers. The lead time to rebuild a home is 116 days, which they felt was unacceptable, and they needed. Some of the challenges that the SBP faced were that they were stuck at their current production levels, and they wanted to improve their lead time. They knew that there were bottlenecks in the system, but were not for sure where they were at and how to handle them. There was no method to track projects that were ahead of schedule, on schedule, or behind schedule, and there was warranty work on past homes. When a home is rebuilt, there's a 1-year warranty, and if something happens, it must be reworked. Their warehouse system was inadequate. On-site projects were not receiving supplies on a timely manner and not receiving the correct supplies. And overall, the communication was poor. There was no communication what was going on. They were confused. The system was not running successfully. The SBP became aware that Toyota had a sector of business that had lean management advisors that helped nonprofit and government organizations. They enlisted their help, and there was a collaboration between the two. Throughout this, the Toyota advisors created a plan to help them. The first thing they did was create a process flow chart. They went into the workroom of the SBP and created 3 large whiteboards. They were placed along the wall, visible for everyone to see. They then listed all projects that were on the schedule, what was going on. They had different sections, what was on schedule, what was ahead of schedule, what was behind. They then created a time chart for processes based on goals. So how long a project would be in evaluation or in the floor plans, how long a project should be in drywall, how long in electrical, and then they combine these steps to see, and they set the goal of how fast they wanted the lead time to be on a rebuild of a home, and then created a schedule. They also discovered that the big bottleneck was money being released from grants to start the project. Knowledge of this information is helpful for the planning. The money was tied up in the state of Louisiana and the city of New Orleans. They could make contacts, but releasing some of the funds, it was a waiting game, and they just used the information in order to make a plan. At the job site, they created standardized work. They created 3 ring binders that listed the steps, tools needed, and the materials needed for each job. And each job would be drywall, electrical, painting, everything a person would need to walk onto the job site and do what was needed. They also created a whiteboard at each job site by the use of a piece of sheetrock. Then they could tell what was needed on a daily basis. Also in this 3 ring binder, they had safety steps for at the work site, tool management, how to order supplies, soft skills, and then to each one, it was custom to each home for the floor plans, the cost, and bibliography of the homeowner to make it more personal, so the people that were rebuilding the home could connect with the homeowner. At the warehouse level, they enlisted the 5S principles. This is a lean concept. It is to sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain from Toyota advisors. And then the SBP added safety for 6 S's. Created standardized forms for use for the warehouse when ordering their supplies. Order sheets were added to the process flow whiteboards in the workroom. Then there was creation of bins to store supplies and tools. The SBP culture also had to change. They discovered they must be committed at all levels, starting at the top, and ideas come from everyone in the process. A quote from Rosenberg: "In retrospect, our work with Toyota was probably most instrumental in that we learned to talk openly about problems, and we learned to have honest conversations about whether we were ahead or behind schedule. This was a problem we didn't even realize existed until we began this process." The question stands, was this venture successful? By the charts, yes, it was successful. They were able to reduce lead time to rebuild a home to 60 days. So what can lean management do for your company? Well, as you can see in this presentation, to become a lean company, it means to trim the fat. And it's to have more resources to achieve better customer value. Where can you apply these lean principles? Well, all businesses, government organizations, nonprofits, and everyone. You could actually use this in your daily life to trim the fat. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and have a nice day.